What is going on, guys, and welcome to a brand new video. Today we're going to be breaking down why Alchemist has a 49.88% win rate, practically a 50% win rate. This hero has been slowly climbing the win rates, and I really think he should be played a lot more often, especially as a mid laner. Now let me explain why. Alchemist is always going to be the most net worth hero in the game. That's typically how it goes if you're playing him properly, and it gives you a really big advantage for your team because he doesn't really need to do a whole lot to be super farmed. You just need to have really good farming rotations and be able to take some stacks and maximize your Grievel's greed and make sure you're within the recent kill window, and then you're going to be able to just make a ton of gold. Also, to be more aggressive in the laning phase, Alchemist is not a lane dominator, but he's definitely no slouch. You can get a lot of kills with Alchemist by having a decent support. If you do have a passive support, it can be a little bit rough because you won't be able to do a whole lot, but if you can connect with your concoction and your acid spray and a little bit more chip damage from your support, you're going to be getting kills in the laning phase. That is very important because you're going to be skyrocketing your farm with the Alchemist. And you have one of two choices when it comes to facets. You're going to have seed money, which means you start with 250 gold extra at the beginning, which pretty much gives you a really nice head start. You're able to start with a bracer, which is very important, or you could start with a full wand, which is also really good and still get a couple more stat items. You could do that. Most players typically gravitate to that because it gives you a pretty big lead. 250 gold at level 1 is really nice. But the other facet, mixologist, is the one I typically go for because when you're in chemical rage, concoction and berserker's potion recharge faster, which means you're going to be casting a lot more of those, not only to help your allies but to help yourself. You're going to be stunning more, and if you take your concoction talent, it's actually a really big threat, and you're going to be doing a whole lot of damage, especially to squishy support heroes who can't deal with that amount of damage. You're going to be getting quite a few kills. You'd be surprised how much damage it actually does with the talent. So if you do like to play around your concoction, you should be picking up the mixologist facet. But if you want to get that radiance at a faster time, you want to get going really quickly because it's a game where you're not going to be winning the late game because you're up against a really difficult hard carry matchup, then definitely go for the seed money. That extra 250 gold is going to help you and it's going to be better. But the bad thing about that facet, it's not going to help you throughout the game. It's just going to be a one time and done. That's why I like mixologist, because it's going to be helping you throughout the entire game. Every time you pop chemical rage, you're going to have those cooldowns recharge a lot faster, which is always going to feel really good. Now let's talk about the typical build on Alchemist. Alchemist is the type of hero whose build doesn't really change a whole lot. You go for treads, you go for radiance, you got a blink dagger to close the gap, you run a soul ring because you have a lot of mana issues. Eventually, once you get items like Scotty, if you decide to go for that, or Bloodthorn, those mana issues are kind of going to go away. But in the meantime, you can get yourself a bracer, you can get yourself a soul ring. Those are going to be very important. You can only get the bracer if it's a very difficult lane, but if you don't need the bracer, don't go for it. But the soul ring, you're always going to need it. It's just very important. You're going to be spending a lot of money on clarities and it's not going to be worth it, and the extra stats you're getting from soul ring is going to be really nice, and you can get rid of it eventually in the late game when you have all your items and you can just get rid of it. But in the meantime, you're going to be using it, and if you plan on playing very active on the Alchemist, you will need it even more. And that's a problem for a lot of Alchemist players. They want to play way too aggressive way too early without having their key timings. My go time personally is Radiance Blink. Once I have Radiance Blink, it's go time. It's time for me to make plays. It's time for me to run around the map. Obviously, if there's a team fight where I'm farming, I can definitely join it if there is an advantage, or if there is something easy for me to do, like get a nice quick support kill and get out. But if I am struggling in the game, I definitely don't want to join any team fights. You're one of the best heroes in the game, if not the best, at making gold. So that time that you guys are running around doing nothing is time that you're losing efficiency, which is very important on this hero. You need to be very efficient and don't just tunnel vision on the kills. You will get the kills once you guys have that farm, because when the other carry is farming, you should be out farming them if you're farming yourself. Very important. And in a lot of matchups, you need that farm. You need to be able to get that 2-item lead to be able to make that matchup actually playable in some of the difficult games. So ignore the team fights until you have Radiance Blink. That is my recommendation, or at minimum Radiance, because I see a lot of players just wasting your time going for these rotations, going for these ganks, and just wasting their time when they can be getting an 11-minute Radiance or a 10-minute Radiance, and then maybe a 13-14-minute with Blink Dagger included, plus your boots with your treads. You can be getting a really sick timing like that instead of wasting your time trying to go for that one-off pick-off. So if you're playing Alchemist from the mid lane, ignore your teammates, mute your teammates, because they're going to be telling you, oh, where's the Alchemist? He's just farming. If they don't understand how the hero works, then just mute them. But if they know how Alchemist works, you know that Radiance timing is crucial. It's not only going to speed up your farm, it's actually going to make you a menace around the map, and it's going to help you get those kills secured, and that Blink Dagger is going to help you even more. Once you have those two, you're going to be able to do a lot more work. But the rest of the build is BKB, AC. You could also go for items like Bloodthorn, which are really nice. I love going Bloodthorn on the Alchemist. It gives you that extra kill threat. You could also go Scotty. You can go Butterfly if need be, if you need more evasion, even though it stacks diminishingly. Radiance could be pretty decent. It also gives you that little bit of attack speed, but if you're looking for attack speed, Moonshard is the way to go. And your Assault Cuirass also gives you attack speed. Monkey King Bar is also really good. And another one that's actually pretty underrated that I don't see a whole lot on the Alchemist is actually the Daedalus. I enjoy going Daedalus quite a bit, especially when I need that extra pop of damage and I have a lot of attack speed. Those crits are definitely going to come in handy. Very important item if you need it, but the Bloodthorn is one of the best items you can go. But you can pretty much build any damage item you want. Abyssal Blade is going to be very important if you're facing up against heroes like Anti-Mage or Storm Spirits, heroes that can easily get away from you. You want to be able to lock them down with an Abyssal and Bloodthorn them so they don't get away. Now let's break down some of the best and worst matchups for the Alchemist. Some of the best matchups are Enigma, Puck, Phoenix, Visage, Wraith King. You're good up against all these heroes. You're good up against Enigma, especially because of the Eidolons with your Acid Spray and your Radiance. You're going to be farming so much gold off the hero. Also, your Concoction has a pretty decent range, so you can actually stun them if they don't have BKB and cancel the Black Hole if you're not caught in it yourself. Puck as well, you beat him in lane and you beat him throughout the game. There's not a whole lot of things Puck can actually do to you. And once you pop Chemical Rage, the hero's just not going to be doing practically anything to you until the pretty much ultra late game where Puck just becomes a right click menace if they do decide going for that build. Phoenix as well, you can pop BKB and just start wailing at the egg and you can easily get rid of it because you have a lot of attack speed thanks to Chemical Rage. So it's a pretty soft matchup, and Phoenix is really popular right now. He is pretty annoying when it comes to laning against you because those Fire Spirits do quite a lot of damage and quite a lot of slow. So he can be a little bit annoying when it comes to laning, but if you play properly, you can actually beat him in lane. It's not that difficult, but throughout the game, you need to be careful and have your BKB ready to go and get rid of that egg. Some of the bad matchups are Batrider, Doom, Timbersaw, Ancient Apparition, Monkey King, Ursa. These heroes are very difficult matchups. Heroes with a lot of right click damage are very difficult because you're a strength hero at the end of the day, so you don't have a whole lot of armor, hence why you typically build AC almost every single game just to help you out. Heroes like Monkey King just beat you man to man in the Wukong's command. There's not a whole lot you can actually do about that. Now, if you're out farming the Monkey King by a few items, then that obviously makes your matchup a lot easier, but heroes like Timbersaw definitely don't give a crap about what you can do. Then you can build a Silver Edge and make that matchup a little bit more playable, but it's still going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult in lane as well. Batrider is a hero that spams you with a lot of magic damage, which Alchemist doesn't like that sort of chip damage, especially when you don't have Chemical Rage in the laning phase. It can become very difficult for you. Doom as well. You don't like to be doomed, obviously, so it can become quite problematic for you to be doomed because you're going to be quite useless in the fight, especially if you get doomed before Chemical Rage. If they blink onto you and they doom you, that fight's pretty much over for you. You're not going to be able to recover a whole lot. And Ancient Apparition just screws with your Chemical Rage with your healing, so that is also quite problematic because you depend on that to be more sustainable. So make sure you guys are building accordingly and watching out for these matchups. But I do recommend playing the Alchemist, especially the lower MMR you go. Alchemist is just such a big threat. If you master the farming patterns and you master on how to ignore team fights, ignoring your team for the most part, and just doing your thing, getting your items and farming, you're going to be a menace on the map because in lower MMR games, people are not actively blocking your camps. They're not looking to hunt you. They're not looking to shut down the Alchemist farm, and you're just getting bigger and bigger every minute that goes if you are farming efficiently. There will be a point in the game where they just can't do a whole lot. You're going to be out leveling them by so much. You're going to have so much items on top of the next carry that they're not going to be able to stop you. So I highly recommend learning Alchemist if you guys don't. He's quite an easy hero to play. All you need to do is farm on the hero and pop Chemical Rage and just start wailing at people. It's not a very difficult hero to play. You just need to have the control of not going for stupid fights and prioritizing your farm. Hopefully you guys did learn something. If you guys did, leave a comment down below and let me know if Alchemist is your favorite hero. He's definitely one of my favorite mid heroes. Also as a carry, very big fan of the hero, and even dabbled in support Alchemist. It's not the best, but it definitely has its use case with the potions, and it's not absolutely terrible. You can always build Aghanim Scepters for your teammates, but I always enjoy this hero. It's just such a fun hero, and I'm glad he's not a meta breaker by any means, but having a 50% win rate pretty much makes him pickable, and you're going to be winning some MMR if you know how to play Alchemist. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.